Hi ho, everybody. It's Fido Kennington, and we're back with another exciting episode of Hey Man, Nice Kiss Shirt. Every week, I bring you 7 entries at a time from this amazing book. Rock and roll all night and journal every day. A year-long guide celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. It's all for you, Demon. Check out his YouTube page. He brought us a year's worth of goodies with this book, and I'm here to break them down a week at a time. If you don't have a copy of this, go to Amazon, pick it up, help Rick out. He's a great guy. It's an awesome book. Hey Man, Nice Kiss Shirt is also about nice kiss shirts. It's a kind of a continuation from last week. Last week was my Paul Stanley Crazy Nights tour shirt. I kind of went, guess what? I went crazy with Kiss shirts that tour. I bought that one, and my buddy Ken was like, hey, buy me a shirt at the show, I'll pay you back. Well, he never paid me back. I got a white, it was the Crazy Nights album cover shirt. On the back it said, I went crazy with Kiss. And I ended up, he never paid me back, and it became mine. I remember my mom washed it and bleached out the back, and I don't know, I bought it for Ken. I didn't really like that shirt, and then after that laundry episode, I must have traded it for something, or who knows what happened to that shirt. But this one, a particular favorite of Sebastian Bach's, actually. I've been kissed off. It's pretty bizarre, as you can see. You might think, this looks a bit like a Creature shirt, maybe. It's got 2 jeans, and every little cameo, actually the one in the middle too, they've all got vampire teeth. They've all got fangs. Parking lot shirts are occasionally weird, and this is definitely one of them. But yeah, hey man, nice Kiss shirt. Let's just get into this. Kicking it off with the entry for February 5th. If Kiss introduced a brand new product priced at $5,000, what would you imagine that product to be? Design it below. And of course, Rick gives us plenty of space to get creative. I'm not going to embarrass myself by designing. I have musical talent, but no artistic talent whatsoever. But I imagine a scaled down replica of the AMT Kiss Chevy van, the model kit. But like on a go-kart frame, but boogie van. One way to do a custom paint job on it was to mix the paint a little thick, use a straw to blow bubbles in the paint and pop them and get a weird pattern. I don't think I came up with that on my own. That had to be suggested in the paperwork, but in the instructions. Like, if money were no object, if I were going to pay $5,000 for something Kiss offered, it would probably be an experience rather than a product. But trying to stick within the guidelines here. I think that the Kiss Chevy van would be pretty badass new product. But it would have to be a replica, the Destroyer decal, the whole bit. It would be awesome. Moving on to February 6th. A friend has never heard of Kiss. How do you introduce them to the band? I first ask somebody how they turn themselves onto an unfamiliar band. Do they go chronologically? If they don't, then it's, do you like live albums? If I'm getting somebody into a band, I want to get them into it. I want it to stick. I want them to be receptive. So if it's somebody who doesn't particularly like live albums, I'm not going to suggest a live. Whereas, I mean, that's the top of the heap, I think. That's, I think, what I would want to, how I would want, my entree into the band. It was my older cousin that gave me his copy of Alive and, really kicked off my fandom. I mean, I'd seen him on TV, but I was too young they just freaked me out. I wasn't 100% sure they were a rock and roll band. I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, Alive, I could start there. But some people, if they're unfamiliar, and I'm kind of the same way, if I know nothing about a band, I like to start chronologically. I like to hear how they develop over time, so I'd start them with the debut. Or do you like concept albums? I'd kind of gear it toward, what they were already into. If they were one of my friends, one of my prog rock people, who knows? Like maybe I'd start with The Elder. I'm one of those dudes that loves The Elder. My favorite studio albums, Rock and Roll Over. Very likely I would start there. Matter of fact, I recently turned my bass player onto Rock and Roll Over. He'd heard, bits of Kiss here and there. We're about the same age. And of course, you'd have to have been living under a rock to be completely unfamiliar with them in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, I had an extra copy of Rock and Roll Over, and I gave it to him as a just because you need this in your life, and happy to report that it worked. So yeah, I mean, it would just depend on the person. But Alive, Rock and Roll Over, those are pretty safe. Those are pretty safe go-tos as far as really wanting to give them the representation of Kiss that I think would hook them. February 7th, happy birthday, Mark St. John. What is your favorite track from Animalize? I jotted down 2. I mean, sometimes I'm in the mood to hear Lonely as the Hunter. I kind of like that riff. But I'd say I've had enough. Like, that was the first, when the album came out, when I first heard, that was obviously the first track. And it comes out guns blazing. Thrills in the Night, melodic. Really dug that one. That one I have good memories attached to that song. Good friend of mine and my bassist in the first Kiss tribute band, Great X, Dave. Shout out to Dave Giroux, another uber talented musician in his own right. We kind of bonded on that song. One time at band camp, we were roommates at band camp, and totally bonded over Kiss. We didn't really know each other because we went to different high schools that consolidated, and we walked into, or I had gone in and set up, unpacked, set up the room, and he came in later and the first thing he saw when he walked in was my Kiss sleeping bag laid out on the bed. Apparently I was trying to make a good impression, and it worked. So boom, there you go. Thrills in the Night, that's got the Dave vibe, and I've Had Enough that's the one that really sticks, when I think about getting that tape for the first time. February 8th. It's not notated in the book. There is a there's a little bit of controversy, if you will, but some of you know what February 8th is. I'll just leave it at that. What Kiss collecting advice would you give your 15-year-old self? Number 1, start a Kiss pinball fund. Number 2, replace the stuff you lost in the fire. And number 3, do it all sooner than later. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a pinball machine now, but had I capitalized and kept my eyes peeled, and I mean it's hard to say. Like, only when I've been in this house for 15, coming up on 15 years, and the stars aligned 5 years ago, roughly 5 years ago, when I got my pinball machine. But who's to say that had I made a concerted effort? I mean, that's the kind of thing. It's a hassle, but you move it with you. It's it's the centerpiece for sure. But yeah, I probably could have saved several $100s had I started saving for a pinball machine when I was 15. Everything I had from the time that I joined the Kiss Army in '76 to a house fire when I was 10 was lost. So, and that's kind of my collecting journey. That's been the thrust of it, is just replacing a lot of the stuff that I lost in the fire. So yeah, I would have told my teenage self just to start sooner. I did go through a phase where I bought vinyl in duplicate. There was a particular record store here in the Flint area that specialized in bootlegs, and the owner, Bill, knew that I was a Kiss freak, and sometimes he'd set stuff aside, or he'd over order stuff because he knew I liked to buy one to play and one to keep sealed. So I probably would tell my teenage self to do less of that. Maybe just buy one of everything and put the rest in your pinball fund. But it is what it is. We do what we do, and I did what I did. I stand by it. Okay, February 9th. Would you prefer to buy vintage Kiss albums from a record store or online? Explain why. I'm a social guy. I'm an older guy. I'm in my 50s, and to me, it's an obvious answer, man. It's so much cooler. Like I was just saying, I had a rapport with Bill. I had a rapport with everybody that ever ran or clerked a record store my whole life. Going into a store and buying a record and asking so and such, what about that? Just standing there and like holding stuff up and, hey, what about this? And the interaction of that, and getting to know other people's musical tastes and what they might recommend. There's just no, to this day, there's the couple of main stores that I go to here in Flint. They see me coming. They know what I like. I know what they like. I know what questions to ask to turn me on to this or that. Or it's just the personal service that you get in a store. Yeah, there's no comparison to ordering stuff online and risking dinged up corners and shipping delays, or God forbid some shit gets lost, or there's no comparison. Go to your local record store, strike up a conversation with the clerk, the owner. Buy your records that way, kids. Whether they're vintage Kiss albums or not. Support your local retailer. Okay, this one's goofy. Love you, Rick, but man, this is goofy. I followed directions. I'm gonna do it anyway. February 10th. If Kiss released a bubblegum, what flavor would it be? Create a flavor for each album in the Kiss catalog. You can repeat flavors as needed. Okay, so they did release a bubble. Well, they didn't release it. Don Russ, of course, the gum in the cards. Is it really gum? Uh, that's debatable. Some of you remember the Chu-Bops. I'm going to insert a graphic, probably here. Chu-Bops. Unmasked. Who knew? But in keeping with Rick's question as posed, now I didn't include compilation. I didn't include Greatest Kiss or Chikara. I didn't give Alive 4 a flavor, but I did do this. Starting with Kiss, the debut, Cherry. If you don't get the connection there, maybe that's an adults only answer. But yeah, first album, Cherry, Hotter Than Hell, Jalapeno, Trust to Kill, Bubblegum, because I feel out of all their records, that's probably the most power pop record. Is short and sweet. It's like, 30 minutes long? Freaking love Dress to Kill for that. Alive, Wintergreen. Destroyer, Mango. Rock and Roll Over, Tangerine. Love Gun, Passion Fruit. Get it? Love, passion, art. Alive 2, Pineapple. Double Platinum, Peppermint. It's got that silvery, wintry vibe. Ace, and this is where it's obvious. Ace is Blueberry, Paul is Grape, Peter is Green Apple, and Gene is Strawberry. Dynasty, Watermelon. Unmasked, Pina Colada. The Elder, Clove. It's a brown album cover. Clove candy and gums, usually brown. It's an adult flavor. Kiss tried to make an adult album when they made The Elder. There's a tenuous connection there. Killers, Chocolate Mint. Creatures of the Night, Blackberry. Lick It Up, Spearmint. Animalize, Banana. Asylum, Fruit Stripe. And yes, that is a gum flavor. For any of you who've ever chewed Fruit Stripe, you know there's nothing else that really tastes like that. And plus, it's kind of a vibe with the Asylum cover. Maybe it's a reach, but we're having fun, right? Crazy Nights, Black Licorice. Not my favorite. I know I said I didn't include comps, but I'm including smashes, thrashes, and hits just for Rick. That's Raspberry. Hot in the Shade, Melon. Revenge, Sour Apple. Alive 3, Dr. Pepper. Unplugged, Ginger. Carnival of Souls, Salted Licorice. Psycho Circus, Spiced Apple. Sonic Boom, Orange Creamsicle. And finally, Monster, Root Beer. So, give me a little pat on the back for not repeating a flavor. Thank you very much. That brings us to February 11th. Have you ever assembled the poster from the back of the Don Russ Kiss cards? What series of the cards did you complete? Did you frame the assembled poster? And do you consider doing this collecting blasphemy, or does it add to the fun of being a collector? I have not assembled the poster, so I didn't frame it. I mean, I think maybe I maybe started to before the collection was complete, but I wasn't really thinking about it. I was into the cards just as they were. Uh, I I completed the second series. I've still got them both, but I don't have, like I said, I don't have them in a frame. I've got them in just card sleeves in a binder. Um, so, do you consider making the poster blasphemy, or does it add to fun? That's whatever you want to do. I'm not super precious about uh, a lot of my collectibles. I think they should be, the toys ought to be played with. The pint glasses ought to be drunk from. I'm not that guy anymore who used to buy two of everything and keep it sealed. So yeah, there's no collecting blasphemy. Do what you want. Have fun with it. That's what we're doing. Having fun. Oh my goodness. That's February 11th. And that takes us through week 6. Wow. Look at that. That's week 6 of Rock and Roll All Night and Journal Every Day. A year-long guide celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. Hope you've enjoyed. Hey man, nice Kiss shirt. If you don't have the book, get yourself a copy. Show It's All For You Demon some love. Remember to put your two lips together and kiss that subscribe button. And remember, play hard, play fair, nobody hurt.